We are living in a very exciting time right now. We are seeing the ATF and the NFA getting beat up on so many fronts. I could literally put a video out basically every single day, if not a couple of times a day, within how frequently this is happening. And this is amazing. Never in my lifetime have I seen so many people stand up for what is right. Again, the NFA is a bad law made for bad reasons. I covered in full in this video right here if you'd like to learn more about the history of it and where it actually came from. But today we're just talking about them getting their face rubbed into the dirt. So remember, the NFA and the ATF is one and the same. Without one, the other one can't exist. Right now, they're getting attacked with a two-prong approach. One, that would be H.R. 8399. What that is a bill to dissolve the NFA. Repeal it, basically. Now, I understand this bill will likely go nowhere. It's got no support. However, how many times in your lifetime have you heard about somebody putting out a bill specifically to take down the NFA? I remember one other time, and that's with the Hearing Protection Act. The fact we're actually making steps forward, yes, this probably won't go anywhere, but what about the next one? What about the next one after that? The point is, we will see something happen with the NFA. I don't have a crystal ball, so you can't know that for sure, but all the writing's on the wall. People just don't agree with the NFA and the ATF anymore because of... I covered the history of that in this video. Definitely check that one out, because that's a video in itself. So Congress is attacking them. The next prong that's attacking them is Bruen and the EPA decision, which is basically Chevron deference. Those were big. Chevron deference is literally how the ATF makes new laws. Now, yes, the ATF can't make laws. However, they can take an existing law. For example, purple cars are illegal. And they can interpret that however they want, retroactively making a law without having to go in front of Congress, without having to put their jobs on the line. So they could take, okay, purple cars are illegal. Well, what shade of purple are we talking about? Now, are we talking about the base colors that make purple? So does that by de facto make blue cars illegal? And that's how they've been exaggerating it. Now, by cars, does that also include small SUVs because they look similar? And so they'll take their interpretation of what's written down on a law and make multiple laws, just hundreds of them, off of just reinterpreting this one law. They're retroactively making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laws without having to go through the checks and balances we have in this country to prevent something like that from happening. And everybody realizes they're out of control and they're starting to crack the whip on them. One, we got Congress going after them specifically. Then we got the Bruen and EPA decision, which is happening through the courtrooms. As court cases that the ATF's involved in move up the ladder, they will start getting attacked more, and that's another way they're getting attacked. The only prong I don't see people utilizing yet, because there's actually 3 avenues I see, there may be more, but 3 of them I see, is on a state level. For example, the state of Wisconsin. One of the only NFA restrictions we have in Wisconsin is specifically about machine guns. I'm surprised someone hasn't sued the state of Wisconsin because of the Bruen decision, that is unconstitutional, because that's some low-hanging fruit, and if you win in a lawsuit against the state, now there's no reason you can't win on a federal level. So I don't know why this prong hasn't been utilized yet, but I'm assuming it will come shortly, and states themselves will start getting sued for the regulations they have on NFA items because they're unconstitutional, and due to the Bruen decision, none of them can happen anymore. They have to be able to make the case that it's historical for them to have that particular law in place, and no, all NFA restrictions, they happened very recently. The oldest one is only the 30s. That's not even 50% of this country's life. So yeah, those will probably get attacked, and they will probably be taken down. Now, so where has the ATF and or gun laws been taking some huge losses on? Well, just recently, 1808 and 2814, which I didn't even cover those because they were comical at best, and I thought about doing like a satire video on those 2 bills that were possibly going to go through, but everyone can see they've lost the court of public opinion. They can no longer have the political stance of I'm going to be hard on guns and expect to get reelected. I knew those were going to flop. I just left them alone. I planned on doing a satire video, but since they're already gone, that's not going to happen anymore. But yeah, so they lost that because even the Democrats aren't voting for it. Because they know if they're hard on guns, or that's their political model, I'm going to be hard on guns, they're not going to get voted in next election. The next one, the GOA and 17 state attorney generals are now going after the ATF.
And these states are, I'm going to read them because there's a lot of them: Arizona, West Virginia, Alaska, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Utah, and Wyoming. Over the ATF redefinition of a firearm in unfinished frames and receivers, which the ATF calls privately manufactured firearms, and a lot of people that are anti-gun call ghost guns.
That's crazy. A gun rights organization backed up by 17 states going after the ATF. That's pretty awesome. We're likely going to see some huge traction in that one. Congress is also attacking the ATF on what their definition of willful is. Now, the actual definition of willful is basically acknowledging, like willfully doing some sort of illegal act. And they've been pulling FFLs like crazy, and the only way to pull an FFL is if they willfully break the law more than once, there's a court hearing, and that's how the FFL gets pulled. And Congress is like, hey, what's going on here? Your definition of willful is messed up because willful is not an accidental clerical error. That is not a willful breaking of the law. And it's not just there where they're misinterpreting the word willful and taking away people's livelihoods. I know of several cases that are currently going on right now where even in the indictment they admit there was not a willful breaking of the law. However, we don't like what this particular person's doing, so please, grand jury, let us indict him anyway. Now, we get it. There was no willful criminal act happening. However, we would like to take this and push it through the court system. And on more than one case, I know of this exact thing happening because I've had a look at the indictment, and it admits on the indictment they acknowledge the person did not willfully break the law. So we'll see how those go. After Congress gets a response on exactly what their definition is of willful and corrects that, you'll probably see a lot of cases drop. But again, I don't have a crystal ball. You never know what's going to happen. Then even the local police departments, they're starting to go against the ATF.
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm doing is verifying that you have it. You got 2 different purchases.
So the ATF got busted doing random searches, which is illegal. And the police spoke out about it. Here's Jared covering it. Definitely go subscribe to his channel.
Sheriff Songer then said, if the ATF agents do not have a search warrant signed by a judge, and you have told them to leave your property and they refuse to do so, call me and I will make contact with the agents. If they still refuse to leave, I will personally arrest the ATF agents for criminal trespass and book them into the Cliticut County Jail.
Now the next big one. Again, I'm going to have someone else cover it because this individual topic is very long and I can make a dedicated video on it. That's not what I'm trying to do with this video. California loses their magazine ban. The local law enforcement refused to enforce it. And then it even goes one step farther. They get sued, and the people suing them are awarded a TRO.
Why is it important that an Obama-appointed judge just granted a TRO in this case? Well, that is because the granting of a TRO using the Bruin standard shows that we are now headed in the right direction.
So basically, what are we looking at here? Again, I don't have a crystal ball, can't see the future. The writing on the wall says the NFA and the ATF, you're only going to know about them in probably our kids' lifetime in a history book. Everybody recognizes that they were a bad experiment that failed miserably, and it's time to erase them and just write them into history. I believe their days are numbered, and they're probably going to have to change the name to either ATM, which stands for alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana, or probably ASS for alcohol, smokes, and substances. Who knows what name they'll go with, but I do see a name change coming. Maybe I'm overly hopeful for this, but to me, I see the writing all over the wall. They lost the court of public opinion. You lose the court of public opinion. Now people that support upholding unconstitutional laws, well, they get voted out, and people that support removing them get voted in. Now, there's one guy that I've seen so far on the Democrat side that is trying to explain how restricting gun rights is in fact written into history. This guy right here. But I'm going to attack him in a separate video because it's pretty ridiculous and it's hilarious. And you guys are definitely going to want to tune in for that. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, I got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below just by clicking on those links. Even if you don't purchase what that particular link is for, just clicking on it and doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway. I had a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.